trovato documenti e dati che nessuno avrebbe mai voluto rivelare.
Okay, the system is run through China, Israel, Ukraine, and us now. It's like you harvest the organs and then you got to get rid of the rest, and that's what I think they were doing. It really just says Soylent Green in a different form.
Nei conflitti armati i soldati feriti non vengono sempre salvati, alcuni vengono selezionati e i loro organi prelevati di nascosto. Il resto del corpo, secondo le fonti, finisce nell'industria alimentare, trasformato in prodotto di consumo globale.
The Russian army knows about this. They underground harvesting areas. So young Ukrainian soldier is not quite dead yet, but they don't think he's going to survive. Boom, 2 kidneys, 2 lungs, a heart, a liver, and the rest goes into the food supply. We've heard people. Remember Rabbi Finkelstein in New York? He was bragging about this. He was talking about, not letting it go to waste, putting it in the meat, and nobody believed him. But then later, this whole thing McDonald's came out.
Right.
Like, what are we talking about here, people? I hate to say this. This is really, really distressing to me to say this, but I honestly think every major food manufacturing, meat manufacturing, processing plant ought to be tested for human meat.
Non si tratta solo di militari. Le stime parlano di circa 8 milioni di bambini scomparsi ogni anno nel mondo.
They found hundreds of emptied bodies put back together in Egypt and in other places before. This is scandalous. I think this is really becoming revolting.
It allegedly runs camps and evaluates children. There are allegedly secret detention centers set up inside various corporations where kids as young as 3 years of age are tortured and harvested en masse for adrenochrome. In the documents, they are called detention centers so they can masquerade as juvenile detention centers to the public eye. But you don't detain 3-year-olds in such centers, nor do you harvest adrenochrome in legitimate detention centers, obviously.
Fonti interne a laboratori parlano di centri dove queste vite vengono sfruttate per produrre adrenocromo.
I have seen Hillary Clinton before I knew she was Hillary Clinton. J. Rockefeller. I've seen all of them drink human blood and consume human flesh, and they have their own goblets.
Where everyone was, and there's a body on a table just like this. An overweight fella's body, cut open. It's all been decorated with grapes and leaves and flowers, but like what I think was a kidney was hanging out, his tongue had been cut out, and it was on someone's plate. Who was just eating it. His eyes had been pulled out, but like they were still on the stalky thing, so they were just hanging. And I remember looking at it and panicking. I just had a panic attack.
They call them the Chorny Transplantologia. I can barely say that, I don't speak Russian, I just read it. But anyway, it's the black transplantologists.
Tutto è collegato. Corpi di militari feriti, bambini scomparsi, un sistema industriale che trasforma sofferenza in ricchezza e potere.
Doing it for the money. He came to the conclusion that these Ukrainian soldiers' organs were intended for the NATO officers in the high command. Basically, people who needed organs due to old age or diseases in Germany, they would be taken to Germany where they'll receive qualified and good treatment. And the whole Zelensky administration bear responsibility for what they did to their own soldiers. I think and I believe that they should be punished for what they did to the people of Ukraine. These were soldiers who were fighting for their motherland. These are soldiers who can't turn back the hands of time. But I'm hoping and I pray that God will be merciful to me and He will accept my repentance. I hope that the people that have brought so much misery to can forgive me one day. Please stop following and refuse to follow these criminal orders. These orders that causes atrocities, that ends lives. Please stop it all.
And I am a survivor of the child snuff industry. This video is about my experience growing up in a child snuff ring known as Uncle Sam's Snuff Factory. This ring is located in Central Texas, and I will speak about it in the past tense only because I do not have current knowledge of its existence. But that does not mean I have any reason to believe that it has been shut down. My home was in Austin, and I recall the drives being about 45 minutes to get to this place. I recall it being in farmland, the entrance at least, most of the ring being underground. high-ranking government officials and military agencies orchestrate it, to believe that there are deep underground military bases that commit mass genocide against children, film it, and sell it on the black market, to watch it, is unfathomable to most people. I spent the first 17 years of my life being taken to that place on a near daily basis, sometimes held for longer periods of time, in which I was incarcerated, did not know if I would ever see daylight again. I've witnessed thousands of murders. They called it Uncle Sam's Snuff Factory. It is the very literal definition of hell on earth. It is not unique. There are other places like it, all over the world. I have been trafficked there as well. It is one of those places where a person can get literally anything they want for the right price if they have the connections to be there. I have seen wealthy, aristocratic white women ordering children of color on menus to be delivered dead, cooked on platters in a wing of the place they called Cannibal's Kitchen. And the reason I'm alive and the reason I survived is because I was born into an organized crime family involved with the CIA who ran this operation. I have the genetics, the family background to be a candidate for perpetration, for continuing the cycle of violence, from being one of the quote-unquote leaders or members of the group. So I was kept alive for experimentation, for slavery, for use. Because we're not just talking about death, we're talking about the worst possible ways to die. Children being boiled alive in shit and piss that predators paid to donate into iron tubes. We're talking about children cut apart, fed to other children for people's sexual gratification. This is reality. And all I ask of those who watch this is that you remember that while it may be excruciatingly painful for you to look at this reality, to think about this being possible, there are children. I ask you to remember and acknowledge that there are children who are surviving it every day. And if they can do that, maybe you can muster the strength, if you have it, to look, to stop the madness. I doubt if that will ever happen. You can help the collective damage created by these rings. And hopefully one day that collective spirit will be strong enough to take this stuff out at its source, to go down into the trenches and actually rescue the majority of the children in child trafficking who never make it out.